Well, I wish there was something to talk about other than the best start in franchise history and the 9-year contract extension for superstar Jackson Merrill. But that's
Other than
all we
that,
have.
it's all.
That's all we have to talk about, Padres fans. We can only talk about the 7-0 Padres and Jackson Merrill's future into his 30s in a Padres uniform. What a time it is to be a fan of the San Diego Padres. We are with you on this Wednesday night as the Padres complete a 7-for-7 homestand. That does not happen every generation, let alone to start a year. So make your way in. We'll be with you for the next hour. As you know, whether you're here live or on replay, you have to subscribe. Because of your help, we've pushed past 8,200 subscribers. With your help, we can get to 8,300 here tonight. So please do subscribe. We have year-round content for you. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We do really appreciate your support of this channel with the super chats. I see one from every so often has rolled in, and we will get to it. If you want to click the $ below the chat box, we promise we will get to those super chats. You can control the direction of the conversation. If you have a question or comment, just want to see it on screen, or just want to support the channel or the good vibes of the Padres, click the $ below the chat box. If you want to become a member, click the join button down below. More of the same is what I would say. Merrill, the day before the extension, homers. The day of the extension, homers. Dylan Cease looks like Dylan Cease. Robert Suarez in the 9th. Adrian Morejon, a clutch double play in the 8th. Luis Ariz continues to awaken. He homered in this game. And what can we possibly complain about? Truly nothing, as the Padres are 7-0, and Jackson Merrill is going to be here for the next decade.
This team's boring. All they do is win.
All they do is win. Just stop winning so much.
I mean, can we just have something to talk about? This is boring, guys. I mean,
double steals and press conferences for stars,
home runs, great pitching,
great
base running, timely hitting,
beating good teams.
Well, I mean, we don't know if actually the Braves are a good team.
We don't know if any of these teams are good. Maybe it's just the Padres that are good.
Yeah, I mean, the Braves are broken. They are officially broke.
Hey, it's our home opener. We're
0-7. So, yeah, like dream start. Couldn't have asked for anything better. This team just came out guns blazing, and I love that attitude from them. I love the aggressiveness that they have shown in these first 7 games. You know, they are not easing their way into this season. They are from the start in it feels like they're in full sprint mode. Even though we know it's a long season, they know it's a long season, and they're going to act accordingly. But first 7 games, John, did not feel like we're going to ease our way into the 2025 baseball season. It was like, no, we're going to punch you in your mouth and we're going to beat your ass.
Well, like we said today on John and Jim, not only does Merrill get the 135 guaranteed over 9 years, he's also already provided us with like a full book of quotes. Like his gift to the Padres organization, whether they win a World Series this decade or not, is that we don't feel pressure, we apply pressure. We're going to beat their ass. I've always wanted to be a Padre for life. The guy is just a quote machine.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so likable. He just is. Like, who wouldn't want their favorite player to be someone like Jackson Merrill on their favorite team? Like, he has all the characteristics of a favorite player on your favorite team, and he happens to fill and check boxes as a 21-year-old. He'll turn 22 later this month, but he's going to be here through at least age 30. It could be 38. Who knows? He could be here for the next 15. We don't know. That's the thing with sports. It could be the greatest, marriage in the history of sports, or it could be topsy-turvy. But right now, it's just amazing to think about is what it is. To think about Jackson Merrill's time so far and what's still to come, Jim, and how he's going to become the face of this organization. Some would argue maybe he is. He certainly will become that, or has the potential to become that. John Seidler, we'll get into that. I mean, it's just lots of good vibes, man, right now.
He's like your favorite player's favorite player.
Right. I mean, exactly. That's exactly right.
Everybody in that clubhouse just has glowing things to say about Jackson Merrill. Manny Machado today, mentioned how hard he works.
Yep.
I forget who said it. It might have been Schulte, that he's like, Jackson's the first one in the door. He's the last one out the door. He's 21 years old.
I mean, they literally, like, the clubhouse manager was like vacuuming like last year. He's like, dude, it's like closed. Like it's like 8 a.m. Like the game's at 7. Go home.
Yeah, like we have to clean the place, and he's still in his jersey. Like that was
Right.
Mike Shillett. He's the guy that just like leaves the clubhouse with his jersey on, and it's like
Yeah.
dirty. And I mean, he's just a ball. He is such a old school, and that's what Kevin said today. He's an old soul. He's such an
Yep.
old soul. He's an old school ball player that you don't see many nowadays, right? Because of the money and the lifestyles and just everything goes into being a professional athlete nowadays. But he is such an old school. Just like I want to be at the yard and just play ball with my friends. Like you
No
don't
doubt
see
about it.
that. You don't see that. It's just
Yeah, he
it's
just
so
kind of gets
refreshing.
it. Yeah, he just, and what he said today about like, hey, what do you think of what's your plan for the next 9 years? Is like winning.
Yep.
Like you don't hear that. I mean, putting team above self in a sport where people make hundreds of millions of dollars, like this is a business for a lot of people. But for Jackson Merrill, he has proven to this point that he cares more about winning really than anything else. And I think he proved it today because this is the important point that we'll talk about, Jim, tonight, and I harped on today. By signing a team-friendly deal, and there's risk for the team. He still has to pan out. He's only been in the big leagues 1 year. But if he is this player, this is team-friendly, and it gives the team opportunities to build around him as he continues his career. Because as players age out, they're going to have to backfill. As players become free agents like Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Ariz. And I just think this contract gives them flexibility. Every so often, thank you, Matt, for the super chat. He says, day 7, manufacturing runs and pressure on a bases. How about the 4-run? Was it the 4th when there were 2 outs and they double steal, and that leads to the first run, and that opens the proverbial floodgates. They end up scoring 4 times in the inning. They've really been aggressive on the bases, Jim. I don't know the team total. It's a big number with Toddy with 5 and Manny with 4. I'm talking about steals. I mean, this is a huge number for 1 week into the season, and it's a reason why. It's not the only reason why, but it's a reason why they're 7-0.
They are just running wild. And I love the aggressiveness because their philosophy is we're going to force you to make a mistake. How many mistakes did the Braves and the Guardians make in the first 2 series here? The Guardians at times this series like didn't know how to field a baseball because the Padres were so aggressive on the base paths that it sped everything up for the Guardians. Jose Ramirez at like, bro, do you know how to field a baseball? I mean, it was like that bad at times, and they create pressure on the other team to force them to be perfect. And that's what I love about this team so far. The first 7 games is they are forcing the other team to be perfect. Look, we're going to double steal. If we get caught, we get caught. But you know what that means? That means you had to do a perfect play to, negate our double steal. And more often than not, guess what? The other team, they ain't going to be perfect. And if they are, you tip your cap, right? But just because it didn't work one time doesn't mean they're not going to do it again. They're absolutely going to do it again, and they're going to force you to be perfect once again.
No doubt. Carlos and Kelly Adventures, thank you for your support, I think, with a super sticker. We do appreciate that. Our buddy Carlos, Dario Mania here, but our buddy Carlos says, can't complain. Iglesias sucks. Carlos, only good vibes tonight. They're 7-0. He had a hit today, didn't he?
He did. It was an infield single.
He hit 337 last year. So come on, only good vibes when the team is 7-0. And this is kind of a funny super from Carlos, who says, I'll believe when they beat the Rockies. Our kryptonite. Okay.
It's got some PTSD.
Again, 7 games doesn't make a season, but ask that to the Atlanta Braves and their fan base, because they would tell you 7 games does make a season, and you're blowing leads. And you're going home 0-7. And I think Jim told me before the show started, no team in the history of baseball has ever made the postseason starting 0-7. Now the postseason has expanded with the additional wild cards, but there's some uphill battling going on there. It's certainly doable, I would say, for a franchise like Atlanta. You're so annoying.
Sorry.
But, I mean, if the Padres were 0-7 right now, we would be in full panic mode.
Correct. It would be skies falling, doom and gloom, sell the franchise, trade everybody, and pack it in for next season.
Correct.
If they were 0-7.
If they announced a Merrill extension on the day that they were 0-7, I'd be like, a little fewer extensions and a little more like winning. But we would be excited about it because of his potential, obviously.
But
man,
still,
what a difference a week makes, though, for one team. One team goes 7-0, the other team goes 0-7. It feels like life or death, right? I'm telling you, that's what it feels like as a fan. When you watch these, like we watch these, and when you consume it like this, and you spend all this time at the ballpark, like viewers here in the wrap-up show do, like our buddy Jeff, who I think has been in all 7 games, he's designing like logos for us on the side. Like this is like a lifestyle once you get into it. So when you invest everything into it, and it doesn't give you the return you desire, we've all been there. If you follow the Padres, it can be demoralizing. But then you get a year like this where for a week everything goes perfectly and you're like, is this real life? And how sustainable or how long can these good vibes, good play continue? Darapod, thank you so much for the super chat, saying that I love the Padres' new identity. They're showing us they can beat any team. Opposing teams look confused defensively because there's so much to worry about. We don't feel pressure, we apply it. The line of the year among like 10 of them.
Yeah, there's like 7 lines that he's said so far, and he's not done. He's going to say a million more. Seriously, we need to create a Jackson Merrill quote book. Just like it's just a picture book with just quotes from Jackson Merrill.
Quotes from Jackson Merrill. He'll write the forward, then there'll be quotes.
Yep.
He'll sign 100 of them, and we'll sell them for $200 each.
We dibs on that.
Right.
I need a quote book. Yeah, the identity of the Padres, you're right. They create it over the course of a season, but early on they have created this identity that Jackson Merrill said today, we want to beat your ass. We want to punch you in the mouth, and we're not scared of you, and bring it on, bitch.
To the person that says, wait, no, this is a replay, it is 9:49 in the West.
Huh?
I don't know what to tell you. There's been NBA games, and we could tell you scores of events that have occurred since we're live, man. It's dark outside.
9:50 on April 2nd.
Yeah, so if it was a replay, we couldn't react to you in real time. We are live and in living color, and these super chats we're reacting to in real time. The only thing that happened earlier was the Padres winning and Jackson Merrill's extension. Eric, thank you for the super chat and your membership. He says, runners in motion creates chaos. Shilty ball. Maybe that does kind of define like the Mike Schilt tenure era. It's a little early for an era, but guy likes to have a team full of like runners. Maybe that's why he preferred Tyler Wade, and now he's got a Brandon Lockridge, and we know about like a Fernando Tatis Jr. Shoot, Manny Machado, a veteran, is running this year. But yeah, I think that is part of the Schilt way, is to really be aggressive, and that's not just this year. That was last year too.
The aggressiveness of this team, you didn't see under Bob Melvin. I can tell you that. Not even close.
No doubt. Yeah, correct.
Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that bashes Bob Melvin because he did take this team to an NLCS. I'm just telling you, like, that's a big difference between Bob Melvin and Mike Schilt, is the aggressiveness on the base paths. And we don't feel pressure, we create pressure. That is definitely showing out here on the field with how they play. Tatis is on first base. He's going to be running, or he's going to
he's going to attempt. He's going to attempt to run. Yeah, yes. Exactly.
They have runners on first and third. Guess what? They might try a double steal on you like they did today multiple times, especially with less than 2 outs or even 2 outs. Screw it. They did it today. I mean, that
might have been with 1 out.
Was that with 1 out?
I don't know, because we were like in the office, and
our show is on live. But
we might have been live.
It doesn't matter. Even if it was 1 out, who cares? They put the pressure on. Whoever was at first base, again, we were doing a show. I think it was Arise. He was out by a mile. But because of the pressure,
once you start heading back to first and the runner breaks, and then you got to make a decision.
And it's Tatis at third, so like, good luck, right? I mean, he's going to mess with your head because the dude literally has scored on second base on a pop-up to the infield. So, yeah, they're going to make your life a living hell. And I love it. I just love the way they play. They have no fear at all, and they're getting rewarded for it. A lot of times you might not get rewarded for it because it's baseball. Guys fail 7 out of 10 times and they're considered all-stars. So it's not going to work every time. But the thing with Chilton, this club is like they know that and they don't give a shit. They're still going to do it regardless. And they're going to force you to be perfect.
Appreciate you, Mac Gez. Happy you found us as well. Tell your friends to tell your friends. The wrap-up show is year-round content for baseball and Padre fans. I love this super chat as we're still in college basketball season. Slot ain't easy saying great quad one wins. We'll see if they hold up as quad one or not against Atlanta or Cleveland. The difference between college basketball and baseball is they all basically count the same. 7 wins are 7 wins in Major League Baseball. Carlos, thank you again. He says, I've become a spoiled Padres fan. I care about October. Give me a ring. I'm not celebrating in April. Shows up to 5 out of 7 games at home. Haha. Exactly. It's like, I get it. Like, I want to fast forward to some extent, but I also want to live through this because this has been fun and hopefully this is a really fun ride. But yeah, am I curious about what it looks like if they get to October and if they match up again with a really good team or if it's the Dodgers and what's going to happen and can they get through a series like that? Of course, we all are. We all are. But I do want to fast forward because I want to know the end result, but I don't want to fast forward because this has a chance to be a special team. So let's all enjoy it together.
Yeah, because, you want to savor what's happening right now. That this could be a special year. We don't know. But so far it's special, and you want to savor it. What's the saying, John? You always want to be playing your best baseball when?
October?
Exactly. Well, at the end of the year. Into October.
Yeah. Okay.
So I hope it's not the flip-flop of last year's team where they were on like fire the last 2 months of the year, and then they were a 500 team for the first 2 months, and then this year they'd be on fire for 2 months, and then 500 for the rest. Even though that would still make the postseason because, I think we were talking to Kevin today about this, and you're good at math, so it's like, all right, if they just go 500 the rest of the way, it's 85 wins.
If they go one game over 500.
Yeah.
But remember, last year it took 90 to get to the postseason.
Right. But still, do you envision them? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, but it's basically just telling you if they just played 500 baseball the entire season now,
they got a good shot to they'll be in contention the whole year.
Right. They'll be in contention. And I don't think they're going to be playing just 500 baseball the rest of the season. That's my guess.
Hopefully not. And listen, there'll be a weekend where they play under 500 because they go 1-2. And there'll be
could happen this weekend against the Cubs.
Over 500. Yeah, exactly. So there's no straight line here. But we talked to Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs, who does the zip projections yesterday. And he's like, the benefit here is these are banked for forever. And it does impact the math now. When you're 7-0 and another team is 0-7, yeah, it's not the only thing that matters. The other 155 games matter too. But these are like, you can't take these away from San Diego, just like Atlanta can't get them back. So they got to play really well. And maybe the Padres are afforded more slip-ups. Not maybe, they are. They're afforded a slip-up based on their start as opposed to Atlanta at this point. That's a fair statement. RF, thank you for the super. He says, here's some money for Adderall refills for late shows. Man, we have been grinding. But again, compared to we have people that have real jobs that are watching us. We talk. I talk to Jim.
Correct.
So it could be harder.
No, yeah. It could be way harder, but we're definitely burning the midnight oil, as they say.
We don't typically, for the full disclosure, Wednesday wrap-up show peeps that are here right now, because some of you are like OGs, we don't do a ton of Wednesday shows because with Wednesday day games, we have John and Jim. We talk about it for 2.5 hours on the radio. We don't then talk about it again for an hour. But when Jackson Merrill signs a $150 million deal and the Padres are 7-0, we'll make a darn exception. Right. And that's why we're with you tonight, because we know that people are, interested in the content. They want to hear more about the Padres, and they're excited about the start of the year as we are. So we want to talk about it. We want to be with you, and that's what we're doing here tonight.
Yeah, it's just too exciting to not continue to talk about it, because I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there that just want to sit there and just listen to. I'm like that. When my team is really good, all I want to do is just listen to content about that team all the time. And I love talking about this team, love baseball, and we're here for you, and we're going to be here for you, and we are definitely going to ride this wave for sure the entire year. We ain't going anywhere. Just like how In 2023, we didn't go anywhere. Just like out in 2021, when the team sucked in the second half, we didn't go anywhere.
Dude, we were doing these things during the pandemic. Now, we weren't on YouTube, but we went to the studio 60 straight nights. But I mean, there weren't off days. Remember 20? I mean, maybe they had 2 off days, something like that.
That was it was such a weird time because we could do it. I mean, you had a little harder job than me because we weren't together yet. And you had
I had a newborn.
You had a newborn and a show from 3 to 6. I was only working with Darren from noon to 3.
It was, I would go home. I would spend time with Kristen and Jones. I'd put them to sleep. I'd watch the game. I'd come to the studio. I don't know how we did it. But here's the thing. Me and you share similar backgrounds. Like, you worked 3 straight years at the ballpark every night for the Padres Radio Network, and I spent 15 years doing minor league baseball. It's like, with baseball, you just grind. I mean, the players do it. Now, the players happen to make $100 million. We don't, believe it or not. Full disclosure. But when you love something, you love something. So you do something because you like something.
Look who's in the chat. Mark Nimitz. What's up?
Oh, Mark, how are you, my friend? Mark was the one that broke the news to us that Jackson Merrill signed
he was. A
9-year, $135 million extension. Now, Jim was sleeping. I was awake. Or I woke up to it, Mark. And we're going to tell you about Mark momentarily, our title sponsor. But Mark's excited, as he should be, because he's been here through some of the lean years. And now we're getting to kind of enjoy it here in the 2020s. Let's get to some of these supers, then we'll tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz. If you have an insurance need, click that link in the description down below. Let Mark take care of you. Keaton says Merrill took a discount so the Padres can afford to pay Xander $200 million to join Hosmer's podcast in a few years. That is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
You're not going to hit on all these things.
No, you won't.
Nope, it's a game of pretty high stakes poker when you're playing with tens of millions of dollars, like Xander and like Jackson Merrill and others.
Yeah, the discount part of this, I'm fascinated by it, because when have you seen a baseball player, especially that's this good, be like openly talking about taking a team-friendly deal to help the team in the future with keeping players and signing players and all of that? I can't remember the last player that was like, yeah, I could have had more, but I care more about this team and I want this team to win, and I want to make sure that AJ has the resources to do that. So I could have waited to get a $350 or $400 million contract down the road, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
You're saying when's the last time someone did what Jackson is doing here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, today you got young guys signing deals across baseball,
right?
Than Merrill.
I know, but saying what Merrill said.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, some agents wouldn't really advise their rep to do it, their player to do it, right? Like Jackson Merrill, maybe there's a reason he's not rep by Boris, because if he had Boris as a rep, he wouldn't even allow him to do this.
Like Paul Skeens is not Paul Skeens ain't taking a deal like this to be like, I hope the Pirates can use the extra money to spend. Like, they don't spend money at all either.
Juan Soto ain't doing this crap,
No,
you're right. It's kind of, I don't know what the right word would be. I think it's fair for your fan to say, like, it's kind of admirable because he's looking out for the best interest of the organization. I mean, he's not going to play for free. It's a sport. He's part of a union. They're supposed to get paid. But he's not going to, seek every last penny in a deal like this, which I do kind of think is, I don't know if admirable is the right word, but I respect that.
We always joke too. Like I remember in the offseason, the Profar, like, do you think you could take a team-friendly deal for like 1 year, $6 million or whatever? It's like, no, the dude's going to go try to get a big contract because this will be his only chance. It turns out this will be his only chance to get a big-time contract because of the steroids.
Yeah, that. Vector 53, thank you, says, with how rough the last postseason was, it's a statement with this homestand sweep and signing Merrill long-term. Team and front office rewarding the fan base. I love that point. I think that's a good summary. Like, I think they recognize people were disappointed, perception-wise, with the offseason, but all that matters is the season, not the offseason. They've won off-seasons, lost seasons, right? They've lost off-seasons, won in season. So what matters is what they're going to do on field and what they're going to do with their budgets and their payrolls and their spending, and they're winning. And it's I think if you're John Seidler, or if you're a Padres fan and you're thinking about John Seidler, I think you're probably pretty pleased with what John Seidler's done here.
Now, Kevin today kind of said that, John Seidler didn't really have much to do with this, right? But it goes on his resume. Like, it goes on what was the first move that was under John Seidler as control person? It was signing Jackson Merrill to a 9-year, $135 million deal. This
Right.
It wasn't like he was on the phone with his agent, like Jackson agent, and being like Steve Cohen, like, hey, what's the number you guys want? Highly doubt John even talked to Jackson's agent. This was a AJ Preller, Jackson Merrill's agent, along with other people inside the organization, Josh Stein. Though, like, that was the group that did this. So I don't think John was a big part of it, but I will say it is a good look. Perception's reality. I say that all the time, right? So the perception here now is that John, gave the money to Jackson Merrill, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think, like you said, I mean, we don't know the full reasoning or thought process or what's going on behind the scenes, right? In making something like this come together. Is this because of John Seidler? Or is John Seidler kind of an innocent bystander in something getting done like this? But he's going to get credit. Whether he should get full credit or not, I guess we could discuss. But he's going to get credit, and I think he does deserve credit. Mauricio, thank you. Says, Ken, should we have a pitcher's core for the future too? Seems different every year. I get there's injuries, but our core feels like all position guys. Well, they committed to Darvish. They committed to Musgrove. They will have King for multiple years, whether he stays beyond this year. They'll have Cease for multiple years. Pivetta is going to be multiple years. I mean, they've tried. I think they have committed some dollars to pitchers. Yeah, they've spent more on position players. There's no question about that. But, I don't think they're trying to turn over the rotation every year.
No, but also giving out big time money to pitchers is also the riskiest thing you could do in baseball.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's been some awful deals, but there's arm injuries and everything changes. Yep.
Like, we love Joe Musgrove. What's he done since his contract of 5 years, 500 million, 5 years and 100 million that he signed?
Right.
He's been injured multiple times. He's missing this season. Like, he's had some good moments, but he hasn't been healthy since he signed that deal. Same thing with Darvish. So it's always a riskier, way riskier thing to sign a pitcher to a long-term deal than it is a position player.
I agree, and not all the position deals work out perfectly. Anthony Rendon was brought up today with Jesse Rogers. I mean, Xander Bogaerts has far exceeded anything Anthony Rendon's ever done in an Angels uniform, but they gave him a lot of money, and he still has a lot of work to do to live up to that. All right, Mark is in the chat. Let us tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz. If you haven't heard before, he's a terrific insurance agent. You can trust us on that. We've done business with Mark for years. I've got life insurance, homeowners insurance, earthquake insurance with Mark, and you can as well. He'll do auto for you, renters, look, whatever you need, condo. Click the link in the description down below. It's not just about saving money. He could save you money, but if you ever need him, that's where he's going to separate from the competition, other agents, because I've needed him before. He'll drop everything to take care of you. He's going to make it simple and easy. He's going to take care of you. He's going to save you time and money is what he's going to do if you ever need him. And you can trust me on that because I've used Mark for years. I had to file a claim a couple of years ago. He took care of everything, saved us so much money. So he's a native San Diegan and a lifelong Padres fan. If you call him, he'll give you free quotes and he'll talk to you about the Padres. If you go online by clicking the link in the description down below, he'll give you free quotes online. But if you support the channel and if you have any insurance need before you renew with your current insurance agent, get in contact with Mark Nimitz because he's got great service and communication, and he's been a supporter of this channel since day one, Jim.
Yeah, all his information is on that ticker below there, mnimitz@farmersagent.com, and you reach out to our buddy Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
All right, so the Padres are 7-0. We can get more into today. We can get more into Merrill. We can get into the upcoming road trip, which will begin Friday. So they're off tomorrow. They have traveled for Chicago. They'll be off tomorrow. They'll play a rare Friday day game. It's only done in Chicago in Major League Baseball right now.
I'm cool with it. I like it for our purposes.
Yeah, for the show.
I love it.
I love it. And then come next week, they're going to Sacramento. So it's a little bit of an atypical road trip because nobody's ever experienced this before. They're going from Chicago to Sacramento. We talked about it today on the rodeo, both, that if they somehow secure a 4-2 road trip, which again, we'll see if that's going to happen or not. But if they went 4-2 on this trip through the Cubs and the A's, they would come home 11-2. So that's because of this good work they've done this first week. That a 4-2 road trip gets you off to just a phenomenal start. So we'll see if they can do that beginning Friday in Chicago.
Yeah, think about that. Even if they go 3-3 on this road trip, you're 10-3 when you come home. You know, like you go 1-2 in the weekend, you're 8-2 on Monday. Like that's what happens when you have this crazy hot start like this. You can then go on a 6-game roadie, go 3-3, and you come home and you're 11-3 on the year.
If they go 6-0, they'd be 13-0, Jim.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy.
And if they go 155-0 the rest of the way.
Oh, that would be really good.
It's 162-0.
Remember that Imanaga game last year in Chicago that went back and forth that they maybe had stolen from them, right?
Yeah, and guess who was a big part of that game? I think he hit a home run. Jurickson Profar.
I do remember that. Yeah. What's weird about this series coming up, and the Cubs offense has been ridiculous, right? To start
Kyle
the year.
Tucker's got 4 home runs already.
Right. But what's interesting that the Padres will have to deal with, they've dealt with it actually already this year because of that fog and that cold night a couple of nights ago, is they're going to run into weather here. Now, that might mean they miss a game or they play a doubleheader. I don't know what the full forecast is, but I think there's some days where the temperature's in the 40s. I think there's days where rain is forecasted. I mean, it's the first week of April in Chicago. Like, you're expecting terrible weather. That would be my expectation, and you might run into that. Something to keep an eye on. You know, I always think it's interesting when teams from Southern California all of a sudden are wearing like beanies and parkas, you know, on the fit. Not that that's necessarily going to be the case. I think the same thing probably applies to the Chicago Cubs as well. Nobody wants to play in 40 and rain. That's not desirable for anyone. But like, this is, you know, an additional factor, additional wrench that's thrown into it. Plus, King and Cease pitched the last 2 days, which means you won't see King or Cease in the Cubs series. So now you're relying on, you know, the back half, so to speak, of your rotation. You know, Padres offense, Jim, I would say has been good, but we haven't yet seen like that 4 home run game, obviously, from the Padres. So we'll see if the offense can continue down this path. Maybe they're due for a game where they score 8, 9, 10 runs potentially on this road trip. But I'm fascinated to watch how it plays out over the next week.
I'm fascinated to see how their pitching staff looks away from Petco Park, because right now their pitching staff's the best in baseball.
Yeah, they've allowed, what'd you say, 11 runs this year?
They've allowed 11 runs in 7 games.
I mean, that's insane. 3 shutouts in 7
games. 3 shutouts, 11 total runs. They lead the league in run differential. It's not like they're winning these games 1-0. They're, you know, putting up runs on the board, but they're also not hitting a bunch of home runs either, which I'm totally fine with. I think they're going to, you know, hit home runs. Remember last year's team on the road just like mashed?
Completely mashed. Yeah.
Didn't they have a hard time winning at home last year? I forget.
They did. They were under 500 at home for a while, I'd say, into the second half of the year. When they were 50-50 overall, they were under 500 at home. Definitely.
I remember that. They were a much better road team to start the year than a home team.
They got going. I mean, not only they got going, I mean, they were great.
They didn't lose.
and they've picked right up where they were. That's the amazing part of this. Who would have ever forecasted that? I just didn't see that as a possibility. I thought there'd be the slow build. Like typically happens. And you think sometimes with Manny, we talked about in the offseason, like Manny hasn't gotten off to the fastest starts in his career. And he's hit, you know, this first week of the season, which I think is awfully encouraging. You know, there's so many things to be encouraged about. So many.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even single them out. There's just so many.
No. So here's the thing. They got 23 games remaining in the month, because they started early, you know, baseball started earlier this year. So they have 23 games remaining in the month of April. They just go 13-10. You're 20-10 to start the year. Like,
that's crazy.
I would have signed up for that in 2 seconds. Actually, less.
Dude, of course, because we've talked about it before where how many times have we harped on the April starts? And these games matter.
We are the kings of April starts mean a lot.
Yeah, and that's why I've given them this much credit, and you have as well, because these do matter. And now I'm not going to lose sleep when they drop a game inevitably, or lose a series, um, because of what they've done here over the first week of the season. Thank you, Joshua, for the generous super chat. He says, "Guys, imagine this: Luis Ariz with a torpedo bat." I don't know if I really want to envision that. I think he has no problems being an all fields hitter. I don't need to see more power from Arise, although he did show off some power here today. And nobody has any concerns with Luis Ariza's start. What did he do today, Jim? Home run?
Two for four, 2 runs scored. Of course, the home run. Yeah, again, zero worry with Luis Ariz, guys. Like zero worry. I would bet you at the end of the month, you look at the batting average and it's going to be better than 148.
Yeah, I mean, even wherever he was at one point, Jim, what was it, 0 for 13 or 0 for 16 this year?
Something like that.
And now we think he's hitting 3 straight games and had 4 hits in those 3 games. So he's already shown the signs of life that you're looking for. Maybe there is an adjustment to batting second as opposed to leading off like he's done for a good bulk of his career. But I have no concerns.
Yeah, so the 3-game series against Cleveland, John, he went 4 for 14 with a home run and 2 RBI.
Okay. Signs of life.
What is that? 4 for 14? I mean, it's
I don't know, 286, something like that.
Okay, it's fine. But still, you get my point. He's going to hit, guys.
Let's see, 4 for 14. I'm curious because it's not 286, but 286. Look at me.
Wow.
Because the 2 for 7 batting average. You got to know the 2 for 7 batting average, which is 286. 4 for 14 is 2 for 7. Jim Fact. Trying to think what else. Just looking at this box score, I thought probably the biggest moment of the game, because we haven't yet experienced this, is like a meltdown. And Cleveland scores a run in the 8th, and then they've got first and third, 1 out, and the tying run is at the plate. And over the course of a year, you're going to have those innings, and Morejon gets out of it. And he does it with a double play ball. And then Suarez works that scoreless 9th inning. But the game was probably won there by Morejon in the 8th, because you're about a double away from big-time problems. I mean, you're a home run away from a tie. But you're like 1 hit away from potentially being tied or trailing. So we haven't seen a lot of work into trouble, work out of trouble, because they haven't worked into trouble. But we finally saw that, where they kind of had to get through a troublesome inning, and they were able to do it effectively enough.
Yeah, Robert Suarez has looked really good. Jason Adam has looked amazing. Jeremiah Estrada has looked great. Morejon. Today, like you said, look, no one's gonna be perfect. Got a little dicey there, but he had the pitch. He threw the pitch that he needed. Got out of it, and they secured the win. Wandy Peralta has been great for this team so far. I mean, literally everybody has been great. It's it's ridiculous. Yeah, they're going to face adversity for sure, but they're ready for it. I don't feel like they're a team that's scared of adversity. Like, they're going to face it and they're going to get through it.
Well, they're the opposite, because they apply the pressure, right? Yeah. According to, and I dig it. I buy it. I mean, you got Fernando Tatis Jr. in your lineup. Xander, listen, for his struggles here, the guy's won 2 rings. I don't think it's because of fear. I just think that it hasn't perfectly clicked as of yet. Manny Machado's fearless. So they have the right pieces. We'll see if they can continue to put it together. We do want to remind you about Mova Globes, because this is a great time to pick one up if you are a baseball fan. This company is based right here in San Diego. This technology of spinning globes with artificial or natural light was developed. This technology was actually invented in Cardiff by the Sea. These are great products. They have all 30 teams officially licensed, including the Padres. But let's say you're a fan of the Cubs or whomever else. You can pick them up by clicking the link in the description down below and get 10% off by using promo code PWS10. That's PWS10. You'll get 10% off. This is a great gift idea for the baseball fan in your life. This is a great desk item, home office item. Your kids will love them. And they have additional globes as well. planetary globes, so many other items. But if you're a baseball fan and you're looking to pick one of these up, they are terrific. You're going to love them. Trust us. We've had them for the last year plus. So make sure to pick up your Mova Globe Gym and use promo code PWS10 by clicking the link down below.
How many Mova Globes could Jackson Merrill get right now with his new contract? A lot, right?
He could buy at least 100, and if they were $1 million, he could have 135. But they're less than $1 million, so he could have more than 135.
Correct.
And with 10% off, he could get 10% more.
I need a Mova Globe with Jackson Merrill on it.
Okay.
I just want all the Jackson Merrill stuff. All of it.
I like that. I like that.
But in the meantime, we only have Padres Mova Globes. So use our promo code PWS10 in the description below. Click that link. Treat yourself. Get a Mova Globe today. You won't regret it.
Treat yourself.
I
think there was a lot of this
bobblehead right here. I put that up there.
Oh, you broke out the Dutch bobblehead today.
I did.
Now that Magoon is back.
I actually broke it out last night. You just didn't notice.
Have you gotten your Merrill bobblehead from Rich?
No, I have not, John. If I got the Merrill bobblehead from Rich, it would have been up there right now. So,
well, maybe you'll see him for Friday home games downtown.
Oh wait, no,
maybe not, since we won't be there.
I know. I got to figure out when we're going to see you, Rich, because we don't know. I don't know, man.
Why hasn't Mova Globes updated the Athletic City name? Because who has?
Because nobody gives a shit. Because you know what? Because you know what baseball says? All the other teams like, fuck you. We don't care. You're a piece of shit to John Fisher. And, well, not the teams, but like the announcers and everything like that. Like every announcer is not abiding by they're not the Oakland A's anymore. Everybody is calling them the Oakland A's because they don't deserve to be called anything but that. And it's almost like a spite thing towards their owner for being incompetent.
If you want the A's Mova Globe, they have one. So make sure to pick it up because I don't know if there's this huge inventory.
They made one.
They made one. They still have it in the factory. If you want it, use promo code PWS10 and take advantage of that A's Mova Globe. There was a lot of discussion today about how this would have made Peter Seidler proud. Right, a moment like this, Jackson Merrill, not just getting to the major leagues, but succeeding and then keeping him around. Because what was Peter's strategy? Keep Padres stars in Padres uniforms long term. Allow young fans to grow up with these players. You buy a Tatis jersey, you can keep it for a decade, maybe longer, with someone like Fernando Tatis Jr. or Manny Machado. And I'm 100% on board with that line of thinking that Peter would have been really proud. Peter had spoken very highly of Jackson Merrill in conversations with AJ Preller before he ever reached the major leagues. Remember, they tried to extend this player out before he ever reached the major leagues. So I think this started with Peter Seidler. He never had a chance to see Jackson Merrill in the major leagues. That is a shame. That's unbelievable when you think about it. But you have his brother running the organization right now in John, and I'm sure it would have been a big day for Peter if he was here.
That's the only downer of this.
Yep.
Is that we all know, everybody does, that Peter would have loved Jackson Merrill. I mean, absolutely, he would have adored the kid. And the fact that he never got to see him play baseball for his beloved Padres, that bums you out. But you also know Peter's looking down. And maybe he threw the Padres a solid here by giving the team Jackson Merrill of like, here you go. This guy's going to turn into a superstar. Right? Like, it's just, it's, if you believe in that type of stuff, I kind of do. Peter passes away, and next thing you know, the following year, this team's blessed with Jackson Merrill. They didn't win a championship last year, but give me a decade plus of this kid playing every day for the team. Sign me up, dude. So, yeah, I mean, he would have loved it. That's a downer for sure when you think about it that way. But you also have to think and believe that he is beyond thrilled up in heaven, knowing that Jackson Merrill is on the Padres.
Yeah, again, it's just one of those things that, things happen. We all experience life, in one way or another. Some, things are out of our control. Like in sports, life is out of your control. I never envisioned Peter Seidler not being here in 2025 when he was owning the team in 2023. I just didn't really think about that as a possibility. And obviously, sadly, he's been gone now for well over a year at this point. HBBBV, thank you for the super. He says, Smell was about to give the Braves their first win. Well, the Braves kind of gave LA their first win tonight, and Ohtani, and I mean, on a bobblehead night. Just stop. Can we not have nice things? The only time in baseball history where a team is 7-0 and they're trailing in their division. I think that's an accurate statement. I think it's the only time in baseball history a team is 7-0 and trailing in their division. I said it today. This is the 5th time in the history of baseball you have had 2 teams start 7-0 or better. 5th time. I'm going back to the 1800s. One of those is in the 1800s. 2 of them are in like modern baseball history. So this is a rarity. You got to go back 22 years to the last time there were 2 teams in Major League Baseball 7-0. So enjoy this, Padres fans, because there's no assurance you're ever going to have a 7-0 team ever again. Because the first 56 years of the franchise, there were no 7-0 starts.
It really is the most annoying shit ever when you put it that way.
It really is.
Like, are you serious? Padres start 7-0, best start in franchise history. Oh, by the way, Dodgers started 8-0. They're second in their division. Like, what? I mean, look at if somebody in the AL Central started 7-0, the magic number's down to like 2. They're winning the division like tomorrow.
Right.
And instead, the Padres are second in their division. It's stupid. Of course, right? Just of course. And to HBBVVPPBJJJJ, Blake Snell, classic Blake Snell line tonight. Just absolutely classic. Going only 4 innings. Giving up 5 runs, none earned though, so makes his ERA look great. 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. He's walked 8 batters on the year, only struck out 4.
Is that right?
He has a whip of 2. Now his ERA is 2 because none of these runs tonight were earned. I don't know why they weren't earned. I didn't watch. Obviously, errors played a factor in that, of course. But yeah, typical Blake Snell. I couldn't stand watching that guy at all. There were times when he was great and it was awesome when his Cy Young year, but a lot of times it was really annoying to watch.
No doubt. I mean, the Cy Young year was, obviously it was special, but that team wasn't very good.
No, it's not a very memorable Cy Young year. People talk about the Jake Peavy Cy Young a lot around here, right? Because Jake Peavy's beloved. 20 years, they'll probably be like, a trivia question of like, who won the 3rd Cy Young, or whoever won the other Cy Young on the Padres? That was Blake Snell. Oh, wow,
right.
Okay. Like you think of Randy Jones, you think of Randy, you think of Peavy. You're not automatically thinking of Blake Snell, I feel like.
Right. That's an interesting point. I don't know if this makes me feel better, this super that's just rolling. Joshua, appreciate the generous super. He says, let's keep the faith. Soon we will hold the World Series trophy in San Diego. I'm on board. But then he goes on to say, just remember, it took the Dodgers 72 years. Is that right? The Dodgers organization took 72 years to win. They won in 55, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
To win their first World Series, and they were competing against 16 teams. We have it way harder. So obviously they were in Brooklyn. But Brooklyn, that's crazy. They started in 1883, and their first World Series was in 1955.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But what's interesting to Joshua's point is hopefully the Padres do it sooner rather than later. But, I mean, this is season 57. So even with that math, you'd be 15 years away. And to your point, there's 30 teams. There used to be 16. The point is, it's not easy to win a World Series.
No, and they won their first legit one last year since 1989, since 1988. So, yeah, it takes a while.
That's crazy. I mean, again, you're going way back to Brooklyn, but they didn't win one until 1955, and they were around in the 1800s. That is absolutely psychotic, but that's a lifetime ago, obviously.
And Carl in our chat mentions too, while we're sitting here being like, of course the Dodgers are 8-0 and the Padres are in second place. Giants are 5-1. How do you think they feel? Like, what the hell? I saw a stat tonight. every time the Giants have started like 5-1 or better in a season, they've either won a World Series, made the World Series, or made the NLCS. And
Is
yet
that
now
right?
and now they're third in their division right now behind the
Five and
Padres
one.
and Dodgers.
Yeah, I think someone put in the chat earlier, Jim, that other than the Rockies, NL West teams have won 22 or 23 consecutive games because you have 8 from LA, 7 from San Diego. That's 15. You have 3 or 4 straight from San Francisco.
I think four. No,
Okay, that's 19. Yeah,
four
no,
straight.
it's
Four
4.
straight.
And then 3 straight from Arizona is 22. Those 4 teams have won or on streaks of, I don't even know how you look at it, but have like combined to win 22 consecutive games somehow.
Hold on, let me look at this.
Yeah, it's something stupid like that in terms of the winning streak. Just go to standings, you'll see current like win streaks, W3, W7,
All
whatever.
right, do the math. Ready?
Yeah, it's not
8
hard.
plus 7 is 15.
Yeah,
Plus 4 is 19. Plus 3 is 22.
that's it.
The NL West has won 22 straight games.
Kind of. Because you got the
No,
Rockies.
yeah.
Yeah, NL West. You talked to Jesse Rogers about it today. I mean, this could be the best division in baseball. I mean, it is right now. We'll see if it plays out this year.
Dude, the NL West has won 22 straight games, minus the awful Rockies.
Crazy. HBBBV, thank you for the super. He says SDFC showed love to Merrill. Everyone loves that kid. Yeah, they had some, was it video or photos of him with the other Padres from earlier in the year? Maybe it was spring training.
SDF. What are you talking about?
SDFC had some photos, I think, of Merrill with like the team and the ball.
Yeah, it was when they went to that's when Manny brought everyone to the game during. Yeah,
Gotcha. But I think they were promoting his extension today on social media.
Yeah, that was when Manny brought everybody on the private jet to the game, and they got to bring the ball out for the first time, and Merrill was there.
It'll be Merrill buying that private jet moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Nah, maybe not, because Manny's on a $350 million deal.
Do you think, though, because they're in Chicago right now? I don't know if they went out to dinner or whatnot. Maybe they did. You're making Merrill pay, right? If you're a vet.
Well, you don't make him. I think he probably offers the day of a 9-year, $135 million extension would be my guess.
Now, he's not a rookie anymore, so you can't be like, hey, Rook, you got the tab.
No, you shouldn't make the rookies pay for the damn tab when they make $700K and players make $30 million.
Usually it's a prank. I mean, usually they're like, hey, Rook, here's the tab. And it's like 10 grand. You're like, what the fuck?
Or they make all of the rookies pay for it. Yeah. Like split it.
But yeah, usually you're right. It's like the guy that gets the contract, dinner's on him, but he also is the one offering it. He's like, hey, guys, dinner's on me tonight.
Jeff says, graphic designer Jeff, who spent all 7 games so far this year, says Marty asked Toddy and Merrill or about Merrill paying, and Toddy said, nah, he's not making the big money yet, and said they would take care of him.
Oh, okay. When does this kick in? I haven't read like the full details of everything.
I haven't seen the details either. I would assume
my brain is fried after today.
I know. I assume it kicks in next year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I can get you some details in terms of the I don't know. I don't know. You always have to go like Spot Track.
It's not updated yet.
It probably is. I was just looking at the article in the UT. I figured there'd be a breakdown. There probably is. I'm just skimming it.
Probably on Spot Track.
Yeah, let me see. Let's see. Jackson Merrill. He's making $800,000 right now.
Dinner's not on him.
Yeah, this deal is updated to show him in 2026 making a payroll of $2 million. But I don't get this. So it goes from 2 million to 7 million to 9 million to 11 million to 21 million.
Okay, so it's a backloaded deal. AAV is 15.
AAV set, but they're also showing cash allocation.
Right. So basically what it is it's like the first couple years, and then to arbitration, right? Arbitration doesn't kick in until that 20 million number, right?
Well, technically now the arbitration doesn't
I know
exist because of the deal.
it doesn't exist, but if a deal wasn't there, that would be the year that he would have to
Correct.
he would go to arbitration. So that year is like, okay, 20 million this year. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. And then I'm sure it's like what 20 something for how long?
It's 21 million for 5 or 6 consecutive years. There's that club option for 30.
Yeah.
I don't know. He can make more if he has a top 5 MVP finish. He's got escalators based on 500 plate appearances, which shouldn't be that hard if he stays healthy. It's a pretty easy escalator. Again, I think we all agree that to me leans team friendly. But then again, what 21-year-old doesn't want $135 million guaranteed? And that's what he's just gotten. He doesn't have to perform to get $135 million.
Yeah. What I love is like, let's just say we live in a world, and maybe we do. 25-year-old Jackson Merrill wins an MVP. He'll be making $20 million a year.
It's crazy.
like what? Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Jackson will ever win an MVP, but he could definitely be a multi-time All-Star, like a 7 or 8 or 9-time All-Star.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I don't know if he'll win an MVP. Who knows? It's just too early to say. I don't know how many times he'll finish as a top 5 MVP guy.
And look, he's hitting 400 right now, guys. So
if he continues to do that, he'll be an MVP candidate.
Yes, he will. Definitely.
That'd be a pretty nice year. All right, guys, we do want to remind you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. If you use promo code PODSWRAP, that is PADSWRAP, you're going to get a free gimme pick and a 50% deposit match right now. With Underdog Fantasy, you can play pick'ems across multiple sports, including Major League Baseball, obviously, including Padres games beginning Friday against the Cubs. But here's the thing. You can play across sports or across games. So you can pick a Jackson Merrill higher or lower than 1.5 total bases. You can pair it with a Chicago Cub or a New York Yankee or so on and so forth. But you can also pair it across sports with someone like LeBron James for the LA Lakers. Simple, higher or lower. Simple as that. Couldn't be easier. Best and easiest place to win is Underdog. You can win 1,000 times your money in a single night. And they're giving you the free gimme pick, and they're giving you a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. All you have to do is click the link in the description down below and use promo code PODSWRAP. That is PADSWRAP. Or scan the QR code that is now on the screen. Underdog Fantasy couldn't be easier. You can win huge money. You can support the channel, and you can play across Major League Baseball, which is back underway, of course, each and every day here.
Yep. There's a QR code. Very easy. When you download the Underdog Fantasy app, you must use our promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. If you're not doing that, then we have an issue and we have a problem. But if you do that, then everything is great. Download the Underdog Fantasy app, use our promo code, start playing, win some big money, and super easy to play. And you will definitely have a fun time.
All right. So let's do this again tomorrow, 2 p.m. on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760.
I thought you were going to say, let's do this tomorrow night. I'm like, John?
No, not tomorrow night. We need a night off. I need a night off. You need a night off. We're going to do it again tomorrow night. Tomorrow. Jesus. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. San Diego Sports 760. We're on YouTube. We're on the iHeartRadio app. By the way, if you want to do us a solid, here's a good way to support the wrap-up show without a super chat or without even subscribing. Download the iHeartRadio app and put San Diego Sports 760 as your number 1 preset. You're doing us a solid. You're helping us out if you do that. It takes 10 seconds. You can do it before we sign off, between now and 1 minute from now. Open the App Store, download the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, put us as your number 1 preset. That helps us. You can also put John and Jim in your presets. You can listen back to hours or interviews on demand. So we're talking Padres every day. I mean, simple as that. I mean, we're talking Padres every single day, sometimes for 3 or 4 hours in a 4-hour show. So join us tomorrow. Full reaction to Merrill, the 7-0 start. We'll get you ready for the Cubs on Friday. And support our partners, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, who's been with us here tonight. If you've got an insurance need, I know. Click the link in the description down below. Mova Globes, remember to use promo code PWS10. PWS10. Get 10% off one of these puppies. And again, Underdog Fantasy, we told you, use promo code PODSWRAP by clicking that link in the description down below. What do you got?
Should have said this at the beginning of the show. Minimum 450 likes on this episode, guys.
Well, we should have said that an hour ago, Jim.
I know. People aren't going to get to this point in the show, potentially. But if you are here right now, and there's over 350 of you here, every single one of you needs to hit the like button. Even if you don't like us, hit that like button. That's all we're asking. And also drop a comment as well. That would be great. Greatly appreciated. It helps with the algorithm, helps with the show. So like button, subscribe, drop a comment in the comment section, and that's it. Now, do you want to hear the schedule remaining in the month?
Well, yeah, hold on. Let me just. Well, it's so simple now because there's only 155 games left. So I feel like
when we start backwards, like from 155, like the end of the year.
No, you start with the Cubs on Friday at 11:20.
All right, Cubs are on Friday, 11:20 a.m. They don't play night games on Friday at Wrigley. They only play day games. Shota Imanaga is on the mound for the Cubbies against Randy Vasquez for the Padres. Looking at Sunday's matchup, John, also at 11:20
Forget about Saturday.
a.m.
Who cares about Saturday? I love it. Go from Friday to Sunday. Love that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Sunday. Fuck Saturday, right? But if you do care about Saturday's game, then you'll care because Nick Pivetta is on the mound for the Padres against Matthew Boyd for the Cubbies. And then that big Sunday matchup that I was so eager to get to, Kyle Hart, he's on the mound for the Padres. He's 1-0 with a 3.60 ERA against Ben Brown for the Cubbies, who is 1-1 with a 5.87 ERA. Now we're getting to the almost at Oakland, but the Sacramento A's series. 7:05 first pitch on Monday night in Sacramento against the Athletics. Don't know the probables for that one, but we'll find that out later in the weekend. Also, looking at Tuesday nights, that's also a 7:05 start for the A's. 12:35 start on a Wednesday of next week for the Athletics game in Sacramento. Then they're coming home for a 6-game homestand. They have an off day on Thursday. By the way, they have like 12 straight off days this year. It's kind of ridiculous. Also, I kind of love it. They take on the Rockies starting on April 11th, 6:40 start time. John, when
by the way, I don't think this is accurate, Tyler. Hold on. I think he made it up. I don't think every Friday game is a day game in Chicago, but they do play day games.
How long are you going to let me go on before you end this stream, huh?